Alright folks, so the sun is shining and the solar is charged back up, and um, that's my 4-year-old. He's got a big blue exercise ball that he's playing with. Um, got my fan going off of my solar here in the solar shed. Got me a light running. And what I'm going to be doing here is some maintenance on this orange generator. It's stuff I've been needing to do for a while. Um, See, the gas tank is smashed up on it. I need to put the new tank on. Um, and also, I've got one of these bolts on the generator head here that's kind of stripped, I think. I need to take a look and see how I'm going to fix that. And I've got a couple of missing bolts on the starter cover. What I probably won't be fixing today will be the muffler. Back here, the metal shield broke off of it, and it's got a few little holes in it here, which is making it a little louder than normal. I'll either have to order a new muffler for it or just go see my friend who has a welder can weld that up for me. So we're kind of going to go through this a step at a time, and I'll show you what I'm doing. And trying to get this done because tonight they're saying we're going to have some storms that are going to make yesterday's storms that took out my power look like they were a light breeze. So I want to get these things ready to go for tonight in case I need them. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take these bolts off to hold the gas tank closed. I've got the fuel shut off on it. Or no, I don't. I do now. And so I'm going to take that out and drain all the fuel into this gas can over here. And then we have the new tank here. I've had this tank for a while. This tank originally got damaged because a tree branch fell on it after a storm. So I called the manufacturer, ordered a new tank. But let me show you here. This is the old pitcock valve here. It actually screws up into the tank. This one has a whole different setup on it. So when I called them back to get the price on the pitcock, they wanted like 30 bucks for it. The tank was like 20. So I was just like, I'm going to skip it. And I've had this tank sitting around for a couple years trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I did some searching on eBay. Found somebody in China selling the right petcock for $7 free shipping. So I ordered that guy up, and it's been sitting here for a few weeks waiting on me to get around to working on this generator. And it's like everything else, you kind of keep putting stuff off sometimes when you should be getting it prepared. And last night I had just general generator problems galore in the beginning trying to get everything going, so I decided to go ahead and get it done now before the storms come again. So I'll go ahead and take this tank off and get the fuel drained out of it, and we'll go from there. Alright, I have got the tank off. It's sitting out there. I've drained the fuel out of it into that can, and I noticed a few things that might be causing some of my troubles. One is I've got a split fuel line. I need to go get some fuel line to replace that with. The other is, I was like, maybe I'll take the spark plug out and check it. I start looking. This spark plug is loose. Let me see if I can get the cover wire off of it here. But yeah, it's wiggling around and loose. So that might have been causing me some trouble getting this thing to run full power yesterday too. I'm sure it was losing some compression. Looks like it could definitely use some cleaning. Yeah, you can definitely tell, like up here on the edge, it was having some blow-by. It's nasty. So yeah, definitely needs a little cleaning up. Even though I normally go through this and try to keep an eye on everything, I guess you just never know. On these bolts here, I have to find where I put them, but I got some long bolts out at Tractor Supply that I think will fit through here. But I don't know that they're the same metric type. However, I'm considering, if I'm going out to get some fuel line anyway, rather than trying to replace that whole bolt, It's a metric bolt, but I am sure that if I go out, I'm trying to see if I can show you here. It's got like a little nut that's welded on the back of this retaining ring, and there's some thread sticking out there. So if I go out and find just some nuts, I think, that I can thread onto the back side of this and just tighten them down, I think that's probably all I'll need to do to ensure that that bolt doesn't pull out that's stripped, which will be easier than trying to put a non-metric bolt in and drill this out and do all that. So I think that might be the quick and easy solution to that, is I'll pull one of these bolts out and take it with me. A little rust and corrosion. Like I said, this muffler, where the little heat shield came off the back of it, actually has a couple of holes in it. Now, I do have some fire stop putty that's rated for that type of a temperature. I may just put a couple pieces of fire stop putty in there for now. But then I think the real solution will be to drill some holes in that exhaust cover, take it out to my friend and have him arc weld that and fill it in, fill in the hole then with a little bit of stuff. But like I say, they didn't really design these mufflers to last forever, but the muffler itself is still good and solid, just where that heat shield was attached. Other than that, I think just some good basic general cleaning, get the cobwebs out of everything, maybe some engine degreaser to degrease it off, and I'll go ahead and get a new spark plug for it too. And I need to get a spare spark plug anyway, so I'll do that. Alright, I will be back with you. Okay, I got some stuff. I found a new piece of fuel line at AutoZone. I don't know how much that was, but it wasn't much. Spark plug for a couple dollars. New spark plug. At Tractor Supply, I got some of these metric bolts for the starter cover, and some of these metric nuts to go on the back of these generator head bolts to help tighten that up and keep it more secure. I also went ahead and picked me up this handy dandy spark plug tool. I think on the small little 2-cycle generators usually come with one of these, but rather than always looking for a socket and stuff, I figure I'll keep this handy just for changing out the spark plugs. Whoopsie, to pick that up. But I'm going to go ahead, I've got this bolt out, I'm going to go ahead and put the bolt back in and put these nuts on the back end and tighten and secure up the generator head. Alright, so where these nuts were stripped out here, I have, let me see if I can get a good picture, I have gone ahead and put in this other bolt on the back of that stripped out nut on each one of these. And they were all actually pretty stripped. I think those nuts are kind of junk. Tightened the bolts in there. I didn't over tighten them, but I got them real good and snug. And that seems to have the generator head fastened nice and secure. And I think they'll stay tightened because, it's one nut tightened against another as well, which helps keep things secure. But definitely something I'll just check when I do some maintenance on the generator to make sure they stay tight. So that all looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with replacing the fuel line and the fuel tank now. Alright, just to show you things don't always go how you expect, I got a small problem. This new petcock is bigger than the old one, and the tank won't go all the way down without this hitting the engine. So I'm going to have to work out some kind of spacer with some longer bolts, and I'll let you know, I'll show you what I come up with here. Hang on. Okay, so you can see what I've done here is I put in these nylon spacers that I had actually for another project in between here in the gas tank, and put in a longer bolt and nut. That raised the gas tank up enough for the clearance for the petcock. I put on the new fuel line, and the clamps, moved those over. And so I'm going to put the bolts back in the bottom of the starter cover down here next, and put the air cleaner back on, and I think we're about ready to test it out and see how it's going to work. Alright, so here it is all finished up. I've got the tank on there, got the air cleaner back on, put the plug in. I have put some nice fresh new gasoline in it. Gonna turn that petcock on, turn this on, flip the choke over, And I guess we'll give her a tug and see what happens. She's running. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run a minute. And then I will plug in my battery charger, because I have just about completely ran my batteries down out here working today. I don't want to leave them that low. See, the charger's barely even staying on there. The charge controller's barely staying on. So, all right. I will be back here in just a minute. Alright folks, I've got the generator shut back down. I gave it a run for about 10 minutes, and I started hearing a squealing sound as the RPMs were jumping up and down a little bit. And I know what it is because it's happened before, and I can feel it's hot right here. There is a bearing in the end of this generator head that likes to go out. I happen to know which one it is, and they have them at Tractor Supply. So I will probably continue this in a part 2 series where we replace that bearing. And I know that I have to pull the whole generator head off the side of the engine, and then basically the inner sleeve of that bearing is hard to get off the axle. Last time I had to use a grinder to get it off. And then you just tap the new one in. It's a sealed bearing. You're not supposed to lubricate it, but I'm actually thinking about trying to remove that inner seal, and then I could get into it from the outside and grease it every so often. But as soon as I started hearing that sound, and I've heard it the last time it went out, went ahead and shut it down right away, because if it locks up, you can completely trash that generator head. So the ominous clouds are overhead. It looks like the storms are coming, and I'm going to be down to my trusty little 2-cycle generator if we lose power. So stay tuned for part 2.